Once you try it and you do it correctly, you're sold for the rest of your life. Touching my arm, being like, Joey with dreamy eyes, you've been talking to girls all night. Like, what happened? You used to be such a fucking loser. Being able to master this will allow you to enter conversations so much better.
When she came up, all of a sudden it was like, boom, this wave of anxiety hit me. She said, no, you seemed 100% confident, totally calm, totally cool. Even though I had so much anxiety, I was able to move it through my body.
Going into the interaction, feeling like the prize and like, oh, you're the best woman ever.
He had an immense stutter he's had his whole life. He can approach attractive girls without a stutter.
Social exposure and social confidence is one of my biggest obsessions of self-improvement.
Complete social anxiety, guys. Like,
bad.
Nothing, didn't think it was possible to fix. What's up, boys? We got a very, very important one for you guys today. If you guys have been following us for a while, you know about the 4 pillars of the method: physical, mental, sexual, spiritual self-improvement. But there's one other huge aspect that is so big, it almost needs its own pillar, and that is going to be specifically social confidence and social exposure, especially for guys who, like myself and Joe, struggle with a lot of social anxiety growing up, getting into adolescence, high school, college years. This is going to be extremely important, and what we're going to do today is break it down step by step for how you can break through this barrier of social anxiety that's holding you back, because even if you make yourself do the full method, become the most confident version of yourself, if you are not confident socially, if you have social anxiety, it is going to drastically hold you back. And I'm going to share with you real quick a story of this exact thing happening to me. So this was about 2022, 2023. I had discovered the method. I was doing the method. I had gotten from the point of 0 to 1 out of 10 confidence to, through the pillars of the method, 10 out of 10 confidence. Internally, I felt so confident walking around the gym, felt great. However, during this time, I was kind of in monk mode. I was kind of keeping it to myself. I was socializing with my friends and stuff like that, but I wasn't really going out and being socially abundant and purposefully going into situations that were uncomfortable socially. So there's one time at the gym, this girl I thought was really attractive. She was into MMA, she was hitting the bag a little bit, and she was hot. And I was like, dang, she's into MMA and she's hot? Like, this is crazy. Like, it took a lot for me to be attracted to a girl. I wanted to approach her. And so I was like, but this girl hit that level, and so I was like, screw it, I'm gonna approach her. So what I did, she was walking by the front desk while I was there, I beckoned her over and had a conversation with her. And out of nowhere, when she came up, all of a sudden it was like, boom, this wave of anxiety hit me, and I got super flustered and was red in the face. Now keep in mind, this girl was giving me insane choosing signals, like more than just making eye contact with me. She would come over, I'd be doing something with a dumbbell, and she'd point to something 10 feet away, give me like, you know, doughy eyes and say, hey, are you using that thing 10 feet away? So this is an extreme choosing signal in the gym. And so she had high attraction to me coming in. I had, my face got flustered when I was talking to her. I was kind of stuttering a little bit, and women are very susceptible to reading your energy, especially your confidence. So she could definitely tell that, dang, this guy looks so confident walking around the gym. He's attractive, he's fit. Why is he acting so scared and nervous talking to me? And what that is showing her is that I'm probably not pre-selected. I'm not socially confident. I'm not used to going around and talking to girls. I don't have an abundance, because why else would I be so nervous to talk to this one girl? Now, what that led to me was next to do was discover Chi Gong, learn how to control that anxiety and that energy, which helped. But the goal of social exposure is to make it so you don't actually feel that anxiety in the first place. Chi Gong can help you control anxiety that is there, and is especially helpful, as we're gonna go into, in the initial stages of when you're learning this stuff. But the goal is, like I said, to have no anxiety whatsoever. So what happened after that is she did give me her number, and I tried to set up a meeting with her for us to come in and hit the bag together and do some MMA together in the gym. And she ended up just saying, you know, she was busy and then maybe she'll think about it. So she lost all attraction, super high attraction in the beginning, poor social skills, social confidence for me, even though I was otherwise confident in the 4 pillars of the method, no attraction afterwards. So this shows you guys just how important this is.
Yeah, guys, if you know anything about my story, you also know that social anxiety was probably the strongest driver in me wanting to transform. Especially seeing Mike. Mike was super socially anxious before the method. I probably started off with a little more natural confidence than Mike socially in high school, but I lost it all. Mike didn't have any either at some point. And I saw him come home from college just extremely confident socially. He had this aura about him, was able to talk to people, and it was a noticeable difference. And because this was such a pain point for me, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's so desirable, right? Which one thing led to the next. If you know anything about us, you know, he talked to me about all the things he was doing, which we'll explain a lot of them here. Talked to me about that, my mind expanded. I was like, great, I have all these tools now to be able to go out and build myself up to fix that social anxiety, right? And so going from a point to where I was afraid to talk to some guys, frat brothers, different people who weren't even like respectable individuals, right? They were like dweebs, for lack of a better term, but I still felt socially anxious around them because I didn't have internal confidence, right? So I built it. Long story short, 6 months later, after doing the things we're about to show you in this video, I go back to the school I dropped out of, and I go to the bars and I can talk to any woman I wanted, right? I started with a little bit of friction, right? I saw some girls that I used to know and they were like, they remember me from being a dweeb, and so they were a little standoffish. And then I talked to another girl who I never knew before, and I was confident. We had a great conversation. We were touching each other. Her friends were sitting in the corner watching me. And then from this moment, I was like, oh, it's free game. And every single girl, beautiful girl that I saw that night, I ended up talking to, had the social confidence. And
talking about what the girls thought when they saw you doing
and
that.
Speaking of pre-selection, the girls at the end of the night, they came back to me after like 5 hours later of just talking to girls all night, touching my arm, being like, Joey with dreamy eyes, you've been talking to girls all night. Like, what happened? You used to be such a fucking loser. And
what did they say?
They were just like, that was how they opened it. They said, Joey, like, they were like, without them verbally saying, you used to be a dweeb, now how are you talking to so many women? They just said, you're talking to so many women tonight. Like, this is abnormal for you. Like, what's going on? Who are you? And so then then it was just effortless. They kept up the conversation. And then since then, guys, at that point, I was on a long semen retention streak. I was very energized, very confident. And it's been up and down like this. But my social confidence has continued to go up to the point where both me and Mike, we just started a new personal training job at a beautiful gym, a lot of beautiful women, high status people here, and we both feel utter social confidence despite being new here, right? Despite being in a high status environment, to lead any conversation with confidence. And what it does to your quality of life, we can't even explain. It's just something where it's like, if you have the ability to create small talk, to connect with people, right, to have social confidence, abundance comes in finance, relationships, opportunity, right, internal fulfillment, all of it, right? So both of us had a huge transformation socially. And with that being said.
And side note, you guys know I like to go into the dating stuff.
Sure.
Pre-selection, those girls who enjoyed him from before had no attraction to him. And then when he came back after evolving, taking time away and evolving, they didn't have any attraction to him when they first saw him. All of a sudden, they see him going around and being pre-selected and having conversations with girls who are probably liking his energy, giving him they could tell that the girls were enjoying it and flirting with him. All of a sudden, they're attracted to him. Nothing changed from the beginning of the night to the end of the night in terms of how he looked, anything like that. It was literally pre-selection. I keep saying this, guys, if you watch the dating playlist on our channel, pre-selection is the number one indicator of the number one cause of female attraction. And so it's another reason why this is so important, because when we're in areas like this gym, for example, and women see Joe or me talking to other women, it's going to make them more interested than if you just look good and are recluse by yourself with your hoodie up, with your headphones on, not talking to anyone. It's much more attractive to see you being socially confident, talking to other people and women.
Right. So with that being said, we're going to transfer everything we've learned, everything we've coached. We've gotten guys from very minimal social confidence, from a 1 to 3 level of social confidence to a 10. It is almost never the case by the end of the time people are with us to where they're a 10 out of 10 confidence, right? And so we have a method to this seemingly madness. If you know, it's social anxiety is a real thing and it's confusing, but we're going to give you guys clarity today. So with that being said, Let's get into it. All right, so me and Mike both agreed we're gonna keep this one quick because this is literally what the entire method is built off, right? To build that internal confidence, because after you have internal confidence, then the exterior world responds differently to you, right? So this is a non-negotiable. Essentially, the reason internal validation is so important for social confidence is because if you're going into an interaction without validation internally, by default, you're gonna seek it externally, right? You need to get your validation from somewhere, and if it's not in here, it's gonna be out there. Now, why is this bad? Because if we seek our validation outside of ourselves, now that social interaction, there's a lot of pressure on us, right? Our identity depends on this interaction, right? Our self-esteem depends on this interaction. We'll explain this more in the next section, but neediness is the worst thing to have in social settings, right? Especially with women. And do they like me? This mindset that you will automatically have if you don't have internal validation will create neediness.
Now, what causes this mindset? What causes us to have our self-worth based on what other people think of us and how they perceive us? It is going to be right here. Insecurity. Insecurity is going to be holes in your confidence that you attempt to fill through external validation. How this person thinks about me. Oh, well, I'm not confident, but at least I have a girlfriend who wants to sleep with me.
Right.
I'm not confident, but at least I have friends who like me.
Right.
I'm not confident, but at least this person, my boss, my parents, etc., are proud of me. You need to care about that because inside, when you take all that away, you are not internally validated. Just you and yourself, there are holes in your validation, in your confidence, in how you feel about yourself because of right here, insecurity. Most men are going to have a lot of the same common insecurities.
Right.
Insecurities are typically going to be physical, mental, sexual, and spiritual. Funny how that's the 4 pillars of the method. That's because the method is specifically designed to give you this internal validation by eliminating these insecurities.
And for me, guys, in college, I really experienced the detriment of this because I was so insecure and had no internal validation, got my validation externally, and when I would go out and get girls, they would feel that. Right? And so I got negative validation, meaning they weren't interested in me. I would get rejected, be too afraid to talk to them. And because that's where my security was based off of, it fed back. It was like a loop. And so you cannot escape having external validation by just going and talking to more people if you don't have internal validation. Because if you're insecure, you're gonna come off insecure. And so when you're saying, hey, I wanna get my confidence from going and talk to people even though I'm insecure, a lot of times it's gonna give you a negative feedback loop.
And you can't hide this, guys, because what insecurity is, like I said, is that it's a chain. It's a chain. It's not allowing you to be free and flowy and fully be yourself because you have these things that you're probably ashamed about that are holding you back from being fully socially open. Subconsciously, you're thinking, these people are going to discover my flaw or this trait that I have or this behavior that I do that I'm insecure about, and it's going to bring me social shame, which is biologically and evolutionary wired into us to have a strong, strong desire to avoid, because if the social group, if the tribe that you're in rejects you, back in caveman times, you're outcasted, you have no one to protect you, no one to help get food with you, no safety net, and so you're probably going to die. So it's in your own survival sake to not get rejected by the group. And when you're out socializing with people, your brain doesn't know that we live in the 21st century where you're safe. You could be home alone and be safe and survive and go on dates on online apps and reproduce. It doesn't know that your socialization and interactions with people have nothing to do with their actual life survival.
Right.
So back to insecurities. These insecurities that are holding you back when you're interacting with people because you don't want them to know what they are. For example, say you are not confident sexually, right? Whether it be your size, your ability to perform, etc. Maybe you're addicted to pornography. When you're interacting with girls, you're going to have this chain holding you back from being fully free and doing what you want because you think, if I like this girl and she likes me and I flirt with her and she flirts with me and it gets to the point where we're getting to the stage where we want to sleep with each other, you're going to be ashamed, you're going to be humiliated. Maybe she'll go and talk to other people about how you weren't good. These are the fears that you have when you're insecure that are going to prevent you from being fully able to embody your masculine energy when you're talking to that woman. Say when it comes to a group of men, right? Say you're in like we were both in frat. Say you're in a frat and you don't know how to fight. You're insecure when it comes to fighting. You're scared of confrontation. It's going to prevent you from fully being able to speak your mind and say whatever you want to say and stand up for what you believe in, because you have this, especially when it comes to fighting, the sexual insecurity is more of a conscious fear of men nowadays, but the insecurity when it comes to fighting is subconscious. Because what could happen is if you stand up for what you say and someone tries to check you, it could lead to a fight, and then you lose the fight. You lose all your social status, your reputation. Now
and physical danger.
Survival. The girls view you as a loser. They're not going to want to reproduce with you. Again, this all goes back to evolutionary psychology, but it's insecurity. You learn how to fight. Joe and me can both attest. Learning martial arts, learning how to fight to the point where you feel like you walk around, you can confidently beat 99% of people in a fight in any situation that you're in, besides like an actual fighting gym. One of the most effective ways to increase your confidence, specifically when it comes to groups of men.
Right, and guys, realize that everything he's saying here is essentially lowering the stakes, right? When you see the interaction as a high stake interaction in the sense of woman, or in survival setting, like he said, usually social interaction was high stake because if the tribe didn't like us, we were in danger, right? If you get your validation externally, if the girl doesn't like you, you lose your identity and you don't have other girls to go to. If you can't fight and you lose the argument and it gets up to confrontation, physical confrontation, stakes are high because you'll probably lose, right? So really when the social fluency comes is when the stakes are low because your identity isn't tied into it, there's no danger for you, right? And you have abundance in other areas of your life, mentally, physically, sexually, spiritually. That doesn't matter if the interaction goes bad, right? So you're not overthinking it, you're not anxious, you're just relaxed.
And how do we get to that state is by eliminating all insecurities.
Right.
So now no matter any situation that we're in, whether we're talking to a girl, whether we're talking to a group of guys, if I'm with this girl and it gets to the point where it's getting sexual, if I'm in this group of guys and some guy checks me or wants to fight me, no matter what the situation that I'm in, there's so many other ones we could go over, I'm prepared to handle it no matter what because I feel full confidence in myself.
Bingo.
I feel no shame in myself whatsoever. And I know that just me being who I am, the evolved version of myself from the method, I can handle it and I will have a good outcome every time.
Right? You don't need them to like you and you're completely safe, essentially. Now, for the method, we're not gonna go through this full thing because we have a full masterclass for you guys, right? First video on this channel, it'll also be linked in the description. If you don't have 10 out of 10 confidence in all 4 of those pillars, this will be the highest return on investment thing you could do in your entire life. In your life. Like, I can assure you, this will give you the roadmap to full confidence. You just have to execute, all right? So finish watching this video.
This is the way you get this.
Yep,
so this
exactly.
If you guys don't have this is the solution. Go watch the video. Again, we're not gonna talk more about it because we made a whole video for that and it was 4.5
hours. Right? So we're sticking with social confidence here, but this is essential. This is the baseline. Now we can start to build that social and external confidence once we have the internal. So in the beginning of this video, I told you guys a story of how I went back to my old school and I had extreme confidence. I had 10 out of 10 confidence, great energy. The woman felt it, just abundant. Now this hasn't always been the case for the past 3 years because that was about 3 years ago, right? Some days I'll go into social interactions and I won't feel confident, right? I'll be overthinking more. I'll be conscious of what I say. I'll have more inhibition. Other days I completely flow, right? It goes like this of the days, even the hours, the months, the years, right? It's always like this. Now, when I first started the method, I was down here, right? I was like this down here. Now I'm like this as I progress through life. I get higher and higher, but there's still gonna be highs and lows. And what determines those highs and lows is gonna be my energetic state at the time, right? My energy. Now, what do we mean by energy? Kind of hard to describe in words, but I want you to look within yourself, right? There's be times in your day when you feel more confident than others. You want to work out, or maybe you want to create, right? A lot of this has to do with dopamine too, but that energy within you means that but when you're in that high vibrational, want to do things, want to socialize state, that means your energy is high and strong. The Eastern world uses chi, prana, life force for this, but it's essentially the vital life force inside of us that keeps us alive, right? Keeps a spark on. You could see in my eyes, there's consciousness in there, right? I'm alive. Right? I have a soul in here. And the more energy I have within me and the more it's flowing, the more socially abundant I will be. So I hope you guys were able to contextualize that a little bit, but what's more important is you actually know how to build this energy versus fully understanding what it is, right? Because no one fully understands it, but you feel it when someone walks into the room, right?
So what's the most important thing to build it, Joe?
SR, which stands for semen retention. Right?
Huge.
So I've made multiple semen retention videos. If you have not come across semen retention, if you've not been practicing or not educated on it, regardless, either way, go watch those, right? They be in the, the sexual mastery playlist? Sexual mastery and spiritual. Yeah, so they'll be in the spiritual and sexual mastery playlist of this channel. Go watch both of those. One, I talk about the benefits and also how to do it, and one, I specifically say how to master the practice. Quick 20-second summary of what the practice is. Semen retention, not just no fap, right? No fap is just you not masturbating, right? Semen retention is part of that, but semen retention goes above and beyond and says, let me gain mastery over this energy, right? This sexual energy that creates a human being, right? That builds nation, that's responsible for lust. And the sexual energy that's within us, guys, it is extremely powerful. It creates our internal state, and the external world responds to us based on how our internal state is. And so long story short, with semen retention, we're learning how to build this energy up, and then once the energy is built, actually transmute it, because that's why a lot of guys will maybe try NoFap or try semen retention and say, it makes me feel anxious, is because, yeah, you have more energy inside you, and if you're still playing video games, watching pornography, eating shit food, that energy is gonna feel stagnant. Right? So it's mastery over your sexual energy, essentially, is semen retention.
And when you guys think about it, there is an evolutionary and kind of biological basis of this that is not, again, there's nothing really to scientifically prove the spiritual components of SR. They've proven that there's testosterone boost after a week of semen retention and stuff like that. But one evolutionary thing I want you guys to think about is that our bodies are designed to do in our brains is to survive and reproduce. This is the biological drive of these physical bodies. That is what our bodies want us to do. So when you're constantly releasing through masturbation and watching porn, or even through having sex, what you're telling your body and brain is that you have successfully accomplished the reason that you are here.
Right.
Your purpose is accomplished.
Sure.
You can now chill out, do nothing, and it doesn't matter, because your purpose is accomplished, and until time comes again for you to do it again, you don't have to do anything. That's why after you guys release, what do you feel? Drained, tired, you want to go to sleep, you want to eat something, recover all of this energy that you just lost, and you have no motivation to really do anything. And the reason you have no motivation to do anything is because you already told your brain you accomplished why it's here.
Right.
So when you guys refrain from doing that, refrain from releasing, refrain from telling your body and your brain that you have successfully accomplished what it's here to do, it's going to further drive you and give you the tools needed to accomplish that goal. And how do we accomplish that goal? We become more driven, more confident, more attractive, higher energy. These are things that you need in order to attract women, so your body is going to actually drive you in that direction. This is, again, this is not anything that is scientifically proven, but this is my theory as to one of the reasons as to why not only we get testosterone boosts, but also energetic boosts, more confidence, more energy, etc., from doing this practice.
And the science that is proven is the fact that your dopamine lowers, right? If you have lower dopamine, you're also gonna be less confident. People love cocaine when they go out, right? In nightlife, people like stimulants to get their dopamine up. It makes them feel more confident. Reason being is when we have higher dopamine, we have our neurons essentially have better verbal fluency, right? We have more a sense of energy. Like think about if you have a bunch of caffeine, how you're gonna feel like you wanna go out into the world versus if you feel depleted or after the caffeine crash, you feel inward, like you're tired, right? So you're gonna have less dopamine, less testosterone. That's also scientifically proven, like Mike said. But yeah, guys, we wouldn't be telling you this unless it absolutely transformed our life, right? There'd be no purpose for us telling you this. We got into it because we saw people on subreddits sharing their crazy experiences on this, and we're like, okay, it's worth a shot. At least Mike taught me it. But okay, it's worth a shot. Let me try it out. Once you try it and you do it correctly, you're sold for the rest of your life, because you just have so much more internal confidence, guys.
Like Joe said, make sure you guys, when you're doing it, you're not lusting, okay? Do not lust, do not edge, nothing like that. You'll still feel benefits versus actually releasing, but it's not going to be anything compared to actually doing pure SR, which is refraining from lusting and all that. And we have videos talking about how we can do that. But let's move on. Chi Gong. This is one of the other most important things when it comes to controlling your energy and social anxiety. Like I said earlier, I had that interaction with the girl at the gym where I was really confident and she was giving me hella shooting signals. Then she came up and I had intense social anxiety. I realized I needed to do something about it. So through lots of research, I found the practice of Chi Gong. And then the next person I actually approached was my now wife. And when I went up to her, I felt that feeling of anxiety because I hadn't done social exposure, which we'll get into in a second. I hadn't done social exposure yet, so that feeling of anxiety wasn't down. I felt immense anxiety going up and talking to her, but using Chi Gong, I was able to completely control it and negate it, get it out of my head, so I was able to communicate in a confident, calm way. My face wasn't flustered, I wasn't stuttering. And I asked her later, I explained out everything that I explained to you guys now. She said, no, you seemed 100% confident, totally calm, totally cool. Even though I had so much anxiety, I was able to move it through my body. So what actually is Chi Gong? Chi Gong, it's an ancient Chinese energy control meditation practice from thousands and thousands of years ago. Chi stands for energy, Gong stands for control. It is literally the art of controlling this energy that is in your bodies, that is built up through semen retention. Semen retention is the generator, it builds the energy, and Qigong is the conductor. It helps you control and move the energy through your body so it doesn't get stagnant. So many different ways we can do this. If you're feeling Qi in your body right now, if I'm not gonna go too deep into this video's gonna be too long, go to the Chi Gong playlist on our channel and watch the video. I said how to tangibly feel your Chi in 2 minutes. I explained a little more about specifically what Chi Gong is, and I have a little 2-minute practice that will actually help you feel what Chi actually feels like in your body. But using this, what you can do is actually control your social anxiety. Like I said, social anxiety is a buildup of too much energy inside your head that causes that feeling of anxiousness. So it has a physical effect. So what we do is we have the ability to control the energy through learning Qigong, and we can bring it down and neutralize energy through our body. So when I went up to my wife, I felt that energy, but it was in my lower abdomen. This is where I was keeping it. So it had no effect on my thoughts, my speech, what I was saying, what I was communicating. I just felt this energy down here where it was neutral. Say we're feeling too much arousal, right? That charged energy you feel like in your lower abdomen and your balls when you're super horny. We can bring that up through the rest of our body, have it charge up the rest of our body with that energy so we feel less aroused and need to release in a physical way down there. Extremely, extremely important that you guys practice this. This is especially important for in the beginning when you are first doing social exposure and you haven't yet fully conquered the social anxiety and you need to control it. So it's extremely important for you guys to learn. But even now, Joe and I, we talked earlier today about how we are still using Chi Gong in our social interactions, even though we have less social anxiety, even though we're much more confident.
Yeah.
Especially when talking to women where it's very much an energetic exchange versus men where it's very much a logical, rational thought exchange. We're using Qigong the whole time so that we stay grounded in our body, we stay out of our heads, and we can consciously exchange energy to and from the woman.
We were literally explaining how we can choose the type of energy we have when we're talking to someone. We can choose if we want a more grounded, cool energy, if we want a more upbeat, energized. Like if I'm motivating for someone for a workout, I'm not gonna be calm, cool, relaxed. But if there's a woman who's like, da-da-da-da-da, talking to me, I'm gonna be calm, cool, relaxed, so she can feel my energy. I was actually talking to a woman the other day who's super into energetic stuff, and I asked her, I was like, can you sense people's energy? Like when a man walks by you or a man's talking to you, she's like, oh, 100%. And then I asked her, I was like, how does my energy feel? She's like, oh, it's very calm, it's very nice. And because I was consciously, like I was upbeat, I was mid-workout, I had caffeine in my system, I could have been like, yeah, but because I knew that energy would be attractive to her, I took a deep breath, I relaxed, and was a calm grounding. She said, oh, it's so calm. And then I asked her about other men, like what she senses. She told me she can always sense the vibration of a guy. She can sense the lust, she can sense the insecurity, and that she was particularly more in tune with her spirituality, but she's like, yeah, women can sense it. So trust me guys, they're bloodhounds. They naturally sense energy. It's like part of their survival instinct.
It's instinctual in them because
yes.
they're not as physical. So they have to be very much more socially aware of people, what their intentions are, what their energy is. When I train female clients, I've literally asked them, asked them about this, and they've confirmed it. Like, they point at a guy and be like, yeah, like his energy is like this. Or point at a guy and be like, his energy is like this. And because I'm attuned to this, obviously we're talking about Chi Gong, me and Joe and Mai are super into this stuff, I can see it too.
Right.
I've even had times where I pointed out to women a certain guy or a certain energy, and she's like, oh wow, like how can you like see that? Like most guys can't like see like what I see. It was like, well, we're very in tune to this stuff. But I was like, yeah, most guys and us starting out, I did not sense energy at all. You don't walk around sensing people's, subconsciously you kind of do, but not nearly to the extent of women. And it's all women, even if they're not attuned to this stuff,
right.
They feel it, and it has a drastic effect on attraction and how they perceive you in the social interactions, how open and wanting to interact with you they are.
Right, and if you guys don't know Chi Gong yet, it takes some time to learn, right? So I just want to give you a quick tool. If you're in your head, right, Chi Gong is going to be the best because you're tangibly moving this energy from your head to your body, but you can literally just take, if you feel like, oh, I feel anxious, I'm overthinking right now, I'm stuttering, just take a deep breath, lower your voice, and just relax. Like I'm talking, like when I'm on here, I'm upbeat with you guys, but if I'm with a woman who I know with like grounded masculine energy, I'm super calm, like I'm just relaxed, deep voice, yeah, and I'm breathing deeply, which just makes such a calm energy. So take that energy in your head, just relax, just deep breath, let them talk, leave space for them to talk, right? You don't always need the conversation to be moving. This is also in sales, they always taught us. If you need to fill this space with words, right, it shows low confidence. So one of the best advice in sales is be okay with silence and be okay with it. It shows calmness, security, instead of feeling like you always need to say something. So just relax.
And breathing is going to be the base of Chi Gong. It's the
Correct.
first thing we have guys in the tribe do when they start Chi Gong is learning how to properly breathe, deep pelvic breathing. So even before
right.
you guys, that doesn't really get into the whole energy centers and meridians and the flow of Chi through your body, but it is a base practice. And just that alone, focusing on when you're talking to someone, instead of thinking about your thoughts, focusing on your deep breathing and just being conscious to listen and then respond is going to have a huge difference. We're going to be making more Chi Gong videos posted on this channel as
right.
time goes on. But it takes there's a lot of things you have to go over to learn the full entire system. In our tribe, we have like a 30 video segment the guys have to go through to learn the whole entire thing. It's very effective. We're going to start making videos for YouTube as well, so stay tuned for that.
Subscribe.
But in the meantime, pelvic breathing while you're talking, practice that. It's going to make a huge effect.
Take your energy out of your head into your body. Last thing here for energy is a quick mindset shift. And I was actually just talking about Mike with this. There's this woman I've been talking to. I think she's gorgeous. I enjoy talking to her. And I found myself the other day looking at her social media and being like, wow, she's really beautiful, pedestalizing her. And I felt that needy pedestalization energy, and almost without even talking to her, a slight anxiety energy, right, when thinking that way. And I was like, damn, that's not gonna be good when I actually am interacting with this woman. So I switched my mindset and thought of all the reasons why she's probably not that great. Right? There's probably some imperfections here or there. That immediately turned my mindset from, oh, I'm the prize again, right? And now, even if she is a great woman, having that mindset of going into the interaction feeling like the prize and feeling not like, oh, like you're the best woman ever. You're gonna talk calm, you're not gonna be overthinking, etc. Dan Bilzerian, a guy, if you want to be able to talk to women, he's a good guy to take advice from if you know anything about him. He says when he's talking to a beautiful woman, he literally imagines them having chlamydia, right? Because, and this is, you don't have to do that, just an example of saying, you're not all that. Because if you think they're all that, and they're up here, right, that's what your mindset's gonna be. And your mindset's gonna be, oh, I need to win them over versus them winning over you, right? And so that's outcome independent mindset right here, but also make yourself the prize, right? To tell yourself that you are the prize and that, wait, what do you have to offer me? Why should I be, let's see what you're about instead of, let me prove myself.
Yeah. And that is part of outcome independence, not wanting to prove yourself. You should go into social interactions not seeking anything more than just a nice exchange. a nice connection, exchange
Right.
energy with the person.
Yep.
That's outcome independent. I don't really care how this interaction goes. Why? Because we have internal validation. If they are weird or they don't want to talk to us, or they're giving us a weird look, like they're uncomfortable, okay, move on to someone else. It's
Right.
okay. Why, that's their problem. When you're not internally validated, that's a rejection. Something's wrong with me. I have bad energy. She didn't think I was attractive. Internal validation, you won't think that.
And guys, notice how it's so much easier to talk to women you're not attracted to, right? The hardest people to talk to and be confident with are the ones where you're like, I want to date them. Oh, if they give me a chance, right? Why is that? That's because you're so...
Let's say you guys have the internal validation. You've been doing the method for a while. You feel internally validated. You've overcome a lot of your insecurities. You've mastered your energy control. You're on semen retention. You know Chi Gong. What is the next step? Social exposure. Like I said in the beginning, that story with that girl who I talked to at the gym. I had the internal validation, I had the energy, I had the confidence, but I didn't have the social exposure. I had not conditioned my brain into realizing that these social interactions that I was always anxious and nervous of growing up were actually not something to be scared of. Okay, so I had to, over time, through exposure therapy, condition my brain to realize that, oh wait, this actually isn't that bad. When I'm having these social interactions, nothing's bad is happening. I'm not getting rejected and outcasted by the group. In fact, most of these conversations are 100% positive, and because of my internal validation, even if it's not positive, nothing bad happens. I still feel great about myself. So how do we actually do social exposure is we force ourselves to interact with strangers. And how do we do this? We have to go through discomfort. There's going to be this barrier that we all have when it comes to social anxiety. It just feels like it's literally blocking us from talking to someone. It literally feels like it's a hard barrier in our brain where we just can't do it. It's extremely scary. We don't know what to say, and it's just stopping us from actually going and being free and socializing. And to go through this barrier, it is extremely, extremely uncomfortable. This aspect of the method, pushing through this social anxiety barrier, especially in the beginning, is honestly probably one of the most difficult aspects of the method. When you have social anxiety, the initial steps you have to take to get yourself to the point where you can go and walk up to strangers and talk to them confidently initially is one of the hardest things and one of the most uncomfortable things you have to push through in the entire method. The rest of the method is also full of uncomfortable things. Starting in the gym when you're unconfident is hard. Going to a martial arts gym is uncomfortable. Waking up and instead of scrolling on your phone, taking a freezing cold shower is uncomfortable. And that's why we do these things in the method to help build this up so we have conditioned ourselves to, when we feel that feeling of discomfort, going and pushing through it. In fact, what we feel now is that when we feel that feeling, it's a good thing.
Right.
We've conditioned our brains to when we feel that feeling of, I shouldn't do this, it's uncomfortable, I need to do this.
Right.
So when I'm interacting with people, even now at the gym, and I feel like a little bit of discomfort going and talk to someone, I say, I need to do this. Because I know if I don't, I'm going to feel ashamed and like I failed myself.
Bingo. And me and Mike, our second day on the job, we were like, okay, we're out to the wolves, right, to go get clients. And our boss was like, all right, go set up this booth and talk to people and try to get them signed up for this program, right? The 60-day program they got to pay money for. And we were both looking at each other like, when we were about to walk out there, like, we're getting thrown to the wolves. This is gonna be extremely uncomfortable. Essentially cold approaching members at the gym as they're walking through, right? Now, we felt this feeling, and I remember walking there, and I told Mike, of course, we were both like, all right, let's do it. But I was like, this is good. This is why we're here. This is what we want, right? We were like, let's go. We're out of our house all day. Now we're in these interactions, forcing ourselves to do these things. And the thing about social exposure, reason it's so hard, is all the things in the method, of martial arts gym and the gym beside, are internal. Like, we're working on ourselves. We can do them at home. We can do it. It's just a battle between us and us. When you add social exposure, another person is added into the interaction, and so that's why it's harder. For me, it was the hardest. For Michael, it was the hardest, and for a lot of guys in the method, it's the hardest step, right? So that's why it's important you have a baseline of this before you even focus on this, right? I wouldn't focus on social exposure if you're still super insecure, because you're not gonna have good interactions. And that barrier that Mike was talking about is gonna be even stronger if you keep getting negative feedback loop.
And therefore, we have to be careful in the interactions that we choose in the beginning. If you guys are starting with no social confidence whatsoever, complete social anxiety, I do not recommend walking up to the hottest girl in the gym and asking her out. That's probably not going to end well for you. If you have immense social anxiety, you're probably gonna get embarrassed, and especially in a closed setting like the gym, people are going to notice that. People are going to definitely see you going up to the hottest girl and talking to her and watch you get rejected. It's not going to be good for your status and your social, the rest of your social exposure that you're going to be trying to do in the gym. So what do we want to do? We want to stay just beyond our edge. We made a lot of videos talking about this point in the past, staying just beyond your edge. That is the edge of discomfort, just beyond the edge of that barrier that is telling you this is uncomfortable. I don't want to do this. I want to stay in my comfort zone. We want to lead just beyond that, where we don't fall over, but leaning through is uncomfortable. And if done enough time, it pushes that barrier farther and farther and farther, where the things that were uncomfortable for us in the beginning, as time goes on, are not as uncomfortable. So for you guys, an example of this, what I recommend is when you're starting out, start with what I call practical interactions. So these are things that are not like open-ended conversations you have with people. They're things like asking a clerk what time the store closes. In a grocery store, asking one of the people in the store stocking shelves, hey, do you know where I can find this item? Now, for some of you guys, I think that sounds like super easy, but for some of you, that sounds social anxiety inducing, just even having those conversations. So if you're at the level 0, that's a place to start out. Again, that's just beyond your edge. That feels uncomfortable, good. Keep doing that.
Correct.
Keep doing that until that becomes easy.
Yes.
And you can move on to another step, which is going to be having non-practical conversations with people that you have forced interactions with. So at the front desk at the gym, right? You're forced to at least make eye contact with that person. They say hello, ask them something. Ask them, how was your day? What did you do today? Stuff like that. A little short interaction that seems normal, that is not really you approaching someone or anything like that. And there's a whole system that we have to keep progressing this thing all the way until going up to the girl with the intention, the hottest girl with the intention of asking her out. All right, that's the end game of social confidence and security and lack of social anxiety. So we slowly build there. I recommend starting with guys in the beginning, and then you can get to the point where we have outcome independent interactions with women when we switch from guys to women. So like I said, we're starting practical, then we get into non-practical conversations with forced interactions, then we can get to the point where we go up to guys and ask them questions. So in the gym, like you guys are on the method, you're going to the gym, this is one of the best places to practice social exposure, and it's fun to build a social community and actually get to know people at the gym. Walk up to guys, and you don't even have to ask a question you know anything about. Say you know how to grow arms, but you see some guy with huge arms. Go up to him and say, hey man, how did you grow your arms like that?
100%.
What you'll find is that, especially when it comes to the guys, guys love dudes coming up and like complimenting them, boosting their egos, and asking for advice. Dudes love getting advice. So especially if you're worried that people are going to think that you're weird for going up to them or disturbing your workout, go up to guys and ask them for advice in the gym. They're going to be super happy and ecstatic. I was actually at a gym with one of my clients who was having a very hard time passing this barrier, and I was like, I had to peer pressure him into it. Just go, do it, push him down the slide. And he'd go up to guys, and immediately he'd be nervous, but their faces would light up. And then they would talk for like 5-10 minutes. The guy was just giving him advice about the gym. He was just standing there like, okay, yeah.
Getting used to it, getting comfortable with it.
Exactly. And then after the first time, he said, oh, that actually wasn't that bad. The second time was way easier. And then after the second time, he was like, okay, I could do it again without any resistance. So again, that's his edge getting pushed farther and farther. Okay. And then when you guys move on to women, at first just have conversations with women without, first start with the practical ones. If it's a female front desk or a clerk, right? Talk to her. But then when you're going to approach girls, approach without the intention of asking them out.
Right.
So approach women who you are not necessarily attracted to. Older women is great. Older women love when younger guys approach them.
Agreed. And
have conversations with them and just to spread positive energy. When you're doing this, go with the intention of, I'm just going to spread positive energy. I'm going to learn her name, maybe where she's from, or how long she's been in the gym if you're in the gym. All right, just go. That's my goal from this interaction. It's not anything beyond that. I'm not going to ask her out, nothing like that. And because there's not a chance of rejection, you're going to be much more confident going in. As you keep doing that, your edge is going to be pushed beyond until eventually you can get to the point where you have those conversations with a woman, and at the end, practice asking for her number.
Right.
Practice asking for her number with a girl who you don't actually have any you don't really care about going on a date with her. Maybe you're not that attracted to her, but you're going to end the conversation going on a date with her. And eventually, it gets to the point where you have conversations with girls who you're attracted to, ask them out, take them on dates. Guys, this system has been so effective for clients I've been working with lately. It's actually insane. Every day, I'm getting insane messages from guys saying, I'm having this conversation with this person. I approached a girl for the first time in my life. This is crazy. I feel amazing. A guy just texted me 2 days ago. He hasn't been on a date in years. He has a date for Sunday. 3 months ago, he could not walk up to a girl at all, and now he has a date for today's Saturday, so it's tomorrow. I hope you do good if you're watching this, brother.
And it's like Mike said, you just want to go with the intention of having a conversation. See it like reps, right? If you go into the gym and you walk into the gym with the intention of saying, hey, I'm expecting to get abs after this workout, right? You're probably not going to get abs after the workout. In fact, you're not going to get abs after the workout. But if you go in and say, hey, I'm going into this workout thinking I'm going to do some work on my body so that over time my body starts to build up, and eventually I have that six-pack abs. That's exactly what social interaction is. You're on the elevator, you're with another person, you're locked in there together. Instead of sitting there and letting the silence, just no one talk, right? A chance for a rep. Like Mike said, the concierge, a chance for a rep, a chance for the rep. Now the reps are gonna get harder and harder the more is at stake. So you wanna ask for a girl's number, you walk up to the most jack guy in the gym, or it's just more of a cold type approach, but you need a progressive overload to get to that point, right? So this is
keep pushing beyond your edge.
Keep pushing. And so for me, guys, like I really saw it as reps because social exposure and social confidence is probably not like one of my biggest obsessions of self-improvement because it just does so much. Mike's guys, they're going on dates with girls because of this social confidence. I know specifically one of them is just his life is completely transformed now because he can go talk to people. That's what he was looking for from the program, and he's had it in abundance, right? And so for me, I've always sucked that out, and that's why this is a bonus one right here, which I'll get right into. I did door-to-door sales with the solitary goal of building social confidence. I'm like, hey, I'm evolved. I have all 4 pillars down, right, of the method. I'm confident in all 4 areas, but I want more social confidence. I feel like I could be better socially, right? So I'm like, what's the best way to do that? Be in uncomfortable social situations all day. All day. That was my job, 8 hours a day, and I'll tell you, it made small talk make me extremely good at small talk. Right, made me very good. And so that's an example of me pushing beyond my edge. If before I started the method, I tried to do door-to-door sales, I would have gotten crushed. I would have gotten crumbled because every single door I would have walked up to was zero confidence, guys, right? And so to go carry on with this bonus, the idea of this one here is going to be commit to things. Force yourselves in environments and situations where you have to be social. Martial arts, any form of job that requires social ability, right? Committing to saying, I'm gonna post a certain amount of content, certain amount of weeks, that's gonna force you to be social, right? So any community you can join, right? Any place you can go to, committing to a conversation a day at the gym, right?
That's what I have my guys do. They have to do one a day, text me what it was, how it went, who it was, etc.
Right, so we're not leaving it up to just how I feel. Oh, do I feel like talking to this person today? No, because we're never going to feel like it.
Non-negotiable.
It's not negotiable, right? So whether you put yourself in an environment that it's forced, or you just make a mental non-negotiable that you have to do it.
We're going to get into environment and people, good situations to approach. But before we get into that, I want to say that when you guys are moving onto your edge and moving on to the next step of the social exposure kind of layout that I listed out, this is where we use Chi Gong because we have that social anxiety and we need to control that anxiety. The goal of social exposure is to make it so when we're in these interactions, we don't have any social anxiety. So when you're having your practical conversations, that makes you anxious in the beginning, do your Chi Gong, do your breathing while you're interacting with them. Once it gets to the point where you don't even have to do Chi Gong because you have no anxiety, then you move on to the next step.
As far as where, when, and who do we get these reps in with, that's gonna be environment and people, right? So we'll be brief with this, but the environments that are gonna be great are gonna be your day-to-day things. Your workplace, your grocery store, any concierge, literally anytime you're in the presence of a stranger or someone you somewhat know, just start a conversation. That's an opportunity for a rep.
And if you guys don't work from home or you like how me and Joe were living for a while, we were literally just going at home and going to the gym. If you guys are on the method, you're going to the gym. The gym is a great place for social exposure. A lot of people think, oh, I don't want to disturb people in the gym. No, people in the gym, they want to have positive interactions, right? If a guy has totally awful energy, maybe it'll be obvious he doesn't want to be talked to. But even people who maybe are like don't want to talk to you that much, they don't respond that well, that's fine. Move on to someone else. Most people are going to be very positive when you're at with them in the gym, especially to getting to people who to approach. I would say for people who are a little more positive, a little more friendly, people who you connect with, people who you in the beginning, like when it comes to the guys, people who seem like they would be someone who you would get along with, someone you connect with. Start with that, target those people, and then again, we want to keep pushing on our edge. Once that gets easy, move on to people who you relate to less.
Right.
Okay? If you never approach this race of people, start approaching that race of people.
Age.
Yes, any type of demographic, approach people who you have not until you can confidently approach anyone at all.
Right, and there's a lot we're holding back from saying as far as advice on small talk, specifically how to do that. But we got a full section for you guys coming up next, which is number 4.
It's just one more thing first. I know what we're saying to you guys right now who have immense social anxiety still sounds extremely difficult, these things that we're saying. But I promise you, in practice, if you actually dedicate to this, at least one interaction per day on the social exposure step and level that you're on, just beyond your edge, it will get so much better. I have so many stories of guys I've been working with right now who the effect and the transformation in their social life and their social dynamics and their social interactions and confidence is insane. The guy we were just talking about the other day, earlier, he started on call with me on his first call. He had an immense stutter he's had his whole life, where he'd be like literally intense, intense stutter. Now he doesn't do that at all with me, but he even says he can approach girls. 2 months later, we started in January, so 2.5, it's early April now. He can approach attractive girls without a stutter. And he never approached any girls and had complete social anxiety beforehand. But what did he do, guys? Again, it's still going to be difficult because you have to push through discomfort.
You just gotta do it.
It's not easy, but if you just stay beyond your edge, it's not going to be impossible. It's going to feel doable, but you have to get used to going into that slight discomfort. Like I said, we're not telling you to go approach the hottest girl in the gym right now.
Right.
What we're telling you to do is just start basic, okay? Ask the clique what time the gym close. Ask where to find that thing in the grocery store. Start with just basic interactions. Once it's easy, move on. Like I said, guys, I promise you, it's amazing the effect that this has in practice with people who do it.
Guys, this is an area where it is truly beneficial to have a coach, right? The accountability aspect of this, knowing there's someone by your side who you can go talk to these interactions about, who is guiding you on, based on how these past interactions go, what you should do next, and who knows invested on this journey with you, is absolutely essential. Personally, on my journey, I had Mike as a coach who I could tell my wins to, ask for advice for, especially in the beginning. It was super essential when I was just building that confidence. I don't know if you have anything to say.
Yeah, I had coached. I didn't have a coach for a lot of things. I was kind of learning everything. I had some coaches that I did use to learn aspects of the method, but it took me a lot longer to evolve than it did Joe.
Right.
It took Joe a lot longer to evolve than it does
my
the
clients.
guys we work with now.
Right.
So having a coach is absolutely essential. We have coaches now. It's just so valuable because what it's going to force you to do is that when you have that feeling of discomfort before you're about to push through a new barrier and go approach and talk to someone, it's not just, oh, well, I can just go home and no one will know.
Yeah.
No one will know that I failed.
Right.
But when you know that you have to text your coach what your social interaction is that day and you don't want to lie to him, it makes it much easier to just give you that push down the slide and go through the uncomfortable feeling.
And not just that you don't want to lie to him, but you want to go tell him about your win, right? So I highly recommend if this is something that's important to you, which it should be, social confidence adds to your life so much, especially when you lack it, get a coach. We're great at this. If you have someone else, that's fine as well, but just have someone alongside your journey. It will help greatly. All right, so now that we've pushed through the barrier and it's time to approach, what do we say? A question we almost always get is, I don't know what to say, right? What do I say? And that's valid because it's hard to connect to someone right away in a couple seconds if there's no common ground in the beginning. Now, if there's common ground, that's great, which we'll talk about in a second, but this is called your hook, your intro, your entry, right? And being able to master this will allow you to enter conversations so much better. It will lower the resistance a ton, and it'll make it so with anyone you can start a conversation. This is something I've gotten really good at, which is why here at this gym, I've just been able to talk to anyone on the floor, right? Really quick, my brain, because I've done it so many times, just immediately is like, oh, this would be a good thing to say to either connect with the person, right? To make a little joke, or just an entryway into a rest of a conversation. So what do you say, right? Before we actually get into this, I want to reemphasize energy, right? When people see you, and this also looks is important, so do some looks maxing. Maybe we'll make a video on that soon.
That's a ton of
right, exactly. People are going to sense your energy, right? So come in with calm or energized energy, whatever energy fits the conversation, right? Good energy.
This is also where we use Chi Gong, guys. There's a certain practice in Chi Gong called inner smile that brings positive energy inside of you. And for the guys who I work with, who I was telling you stories about in the last section, this is what they would do. The deep pelvic breathing, calm inner smile, build up the positivity and tell yourself, literally think, I'm about to spread positive energy and have a positive interaction. So you have a positive mindset and energy going into the interaction.
Right, and guys, like notice the difference of this. Say you're walking up in the gym to the concierge and you walk in with great energy and you go, hey, with a big smile, and they look at you, hey, how's it going? I was like, and as I'm checking in, I go, how's your day going today, right? And oh, I did this, oh yeah, when you getting off work? Oh, I'm doing this, versus you walk in, you go, hey, how's it going? Yeah, it's good. What'd you do today? Right? You see the difference between a light, confident energy, right? So that's gonna make a big difference. As far as what to actually say, you don't have to overcomplicate it, right? If you have something clever or whatever, or something cool you wanna say, great. If you're in an elevator with someone, what'd you do today? What have you been up to today, right? You're standing there, and they'll be like, they might be caught off guard, like, well, he wants to know what I did today, great, right? If they don't want to talk, that's fine. You'll get off the elevator in a couple seconds. They'll be like, oh, I did this, etc., right? So what did you do today is a great one. How's it going isn't great. However, it's better to say, how's it going versus saying nothing, right? Because that can lead into conversation.
How's it going? And usually able to say, oh, it's good.
It's good.
How are you?
Oh,
I'm good.
Oh, good. And then you could be like, what'd you do today? Because if they say what they did today, oh, maybe they talk about a restaurant. Oh, I've been to that restaurant. What's your favorite meal? Right? Boom, 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 which gets right in the next one, which is questions.
So questions, guys. What you want to be doing when you're having these conversations is be actively listening.
Right.
So what we do is we do Chi Gong. So we're out of our head, we're just in our bodies, and we're actively listening. So this is why we need to not have insecurities. Don't think about the way you look, the way you're standing, what you're thinking. Just do Chi Gong, be in your body, not overthinking, and just look at them, look them in the eyes, and listen. Listen
Right.
to each word.
Yes.
Think about each word that you're listening to, like you're listening to a YouTube video or a podcast that you really want to pay attention to. You're trying to take in the information.
Right.
Take in the information. I know you guys at the beginning might feel some social anxiety, and you're thinking about just, is my face red? Am I anxious? Again, that's what we need to do. Chi Gong in the beginning when we're just pushing through our edge, and actively listen. After they've finished going through what they're going to say, because you've been actively listening, ask them another question that makes sense based on what they said. So, say we're in the elevator. Oh, how's your day going? Oh, pretty good. Just got finished with work, about to go home, watch the game. Oh, what game are you going to watch? Oh, I'm going to watch the Chicago Bears, right? We're in Chicago, so everyone watches the Bears. Oh, okay, dang. Fail, right? So, but it probably.
Who's your favorite player? Right?
I'm just making a video. Yeah. So I was just say something like, "Oh, really nice. Like, what do you think they're gonna win? Who are they playing? All right. Oh, they're playing this team. Oh, really nice. So how are they doing this year? Oh, pretty good. They're like 8-7. I don't know if they're gonna make the playoffs.
And then I'll go in here. And you don't. It doesn't always have to be questions. If it makes sense for you to add something, okay, boom. We already related on this, which is gonna be our next session. We related on something. You could be like, I actually was just at a game. And then they'll be like, oh, you know what? I went to a game this year. Which game did you go to? No way. Went to the same game. Let me give you my Instagram now. It's like that was an exaggeration, but connecting, asking questions, bringing good energy. Once you do that, guys, you're good. Right, you're good. And so
that's why I paused there for a second, because anytime someone talks about sports teams, I go into a relate. That's why I usually don't ask questions. So if it was a Bears fan, in my head, anytime that's a lot of conversations, because in Chicago, when I'm having social interactions, people are wearing Bears stuff. So then I'll go into a thing.
Bingo.
I'll relate right away, because I know the Bears. So I say, oh, what do you think about this guy? Oh, Caleb Williams is having a great season, right? So that's, again, you got to actively listen, and then you'll know just based on what goes on to ask a question or to relate. If you see an opportunity to relate, it'll come up in your head, boom, relate. And if you don't have an opportunity to relate, ask more questions until you find something to relate on.
And even relating can be a hook. For Mike, for example, if he sees a guy's in a Bears shirt, he's in Chicago, he knows about the Bears, boom, instant relating there. Oh, Bears season, you guys both know stuff about that. In the gym, you can relate on, this is the easiest, guys, right? Like if I see someone who's in great shape, I'll ask them, I'll just be like, hey, are you stepping on stage? Whether they are or whether they aren't, we're already in conversation. Oh, you know what, I'm not, but I'm really thinking about it. What's stopping you? Boom, 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 boom. And then you could, if you guys go to the gym, you know this. You could talk about the gym all day if you go to the gym, right? Such an easy hook there, being like something, or just how was your workout? Right? How's your workout, bro? I mean, that's less you're gonna cold approach someone, but say you guys are both, you guys are working on a set, right? Oh, what'd you do today? That's a great thing to do. I met my bodybuilding coach, working on the set with me, and now we're, that's one of my closest friends, my bodybuilding coach, because he came up to me, he was like, can I work on this set? Boom, just by doing that, now we're best friends and have a great connection. We both help each other in different ways, right? It's you either relate to someone or you can just ask how your day is going.
And as you guys get better at this, it'll naturally flow.
Exactly.
Like in the gym, for example, we see someone, and you don't have to think of things. You can make stuff up to say to someone too in the beginning for a hook. Right? Like I said the other day. So you walk up to someone and he's using a handle like this, like for a lat pull down instead of a wide bar like this. Say, hey man, even if you already know why, right? Lower your ego a little bit, just have, because again, it'll make him feel good that you're asking him advice. Hey man, why are you doing this handle instead of this one? I always see people doing this one. Then he'll go into that, right? Oh, really? So that's interesting. So how long have you been doing like that? Is there a reason? Is it working a certain part of your back? And then you go, oh, nice. I'm trying to go my back too right now. So
right. And the more confident you get, guys, the more witty you'll get. Yeah. And wit comes from not thinking. And just your confident approach. Like if I see someone wearing the same thing as me, I'll come up with confidence to do it. I'll be like, hey bro, like a black beater or something like that. Hey bro, there's only room for enough for one beater in here, bro. And then they'll laugh, we'll play it off, joke about it, and get right into a conversation. Right? That's that you start with a confident intro. But I wouldn't have been able to do something like that. I would have been like my tone wouldn't have been able, my confidence wouldn't have been able to follow that up. Hey bro, there's only room for one beater, But like, hey bro, there's only room for one beater on there. Sarcastically, right? Like I'll always use that if someone's wearing the same thing as me. Only room for one of it, right? Just the more you guys do it, guys, the more social exposure you have. Ask questions, relate. Don't put pressure on yourself. Don't Don't look for an outcome, right? Have the internal confidence, have good energy, all of it. This is a masterclass, guys, right? All of this together, we didn't leave much out of this, honestly, right?
Yeah, it's like guys versus girls.
Oh yeah, let's
You're talking
finish
to
that.
them a little bit. With guys, you can be a little bit more, it's all more logical, right? You're up here in your head a little bit more, talking to them, relating to them verbally, logically. Women, more energetic.
They love
you slow
energy.
down.
Slow down,
get
right.
really down your voice and your diaphragm.
Right.
Get your energy down your diaphragm. When you learn Chi Gong better, send energy to them. Bring your energy to theirs. I know it sounds crazy guys, you haven't learned Chi Gong, but this is what you got to do. Is talk slower. Ask
Right.
them more questions. Don't talk about with guys. You could talk about yourself more experience a little bit more. With women,
Right.
let them talk a little bit more.
Right.
Be a little bit more of a mystery.
Open.
Yeah, especially if it's a girl that that you're interested in. You want to be a little bit more of a mystery. Don't babble about yourself all
Right,
the time.
right. Like for example, if I'm going to approach a guy and say like, hey bro, like there's only room for one enough beater in here, what are you doing today, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If I'm approaching a woman, she looks engaged today, I'll be like, hey, excuse me, you ever step on stage before? I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, why not, right? See how much more controlled, slow I am, right? And different women, you could take different tones, you'll pick up on it, but what women like is confidence, assertiveness, grounded energy, because speaking fast a lot of times can show insecurity. Just because you speak fast doesn't mean you're insecure. I'm speaking fast right now. I'm speaking like twice as fast as I would speak with a woman. But a lot of times that's not grounding energy. You want to be grounded, right? Which is why Mike said, breathe through the diaphragm. We didn't cover this, body language, but we'll do it real quick. Consciously, guys, head up, chest up. That signals confidence. That makes yourself more confident. Eye contact, deep breaths. Yes. All right, guys? I think that's it.
Master
All right,
class, boys.
Right before the camera battery died for the third time. So guys, both me and Michael, we know what it's like to not be socially confident. We know it's not easy, but we promise you, if you follow the instructions of this video, you will make it, especially if you're able to just put yourself out there here and there, right? Comments are open for questions. You can follow us on Instagram for questions. If you want one-on-one guidance to ensure that you build the social confidence, go ahead and book a call. We'll see if you're a good fit for the method. But other than that, got anything else to say, Mike?
You got this, guys.
You guys got
coming
this.
from complete social anxiety, guys. Like
Bad.
Nothing. Didn't think it was possible to fix. It took us a while, but we figured it out. And now, guys, will implement literally what we just gave. There's no secret sauce that we're giving our clients. Obviously, it's more hands-on and in-depth and accountability. But this is the blueprint for what they do, and
Right.
they go from 0 to 10 out of 10 in a matter of a couple
Way
years.
faster than us because they have this.
Yes.
All right, guys.
So,
Much love.
thank you for watching. Peace.
Yo, bro. My name is
So,
Joe.
boys,
I'll just talk.
My name is Joe, and
Hey, yo. And I got the flow.
My name is Joe, and I was in a chocolate factory.
And this will
remember that?
yeah. And I was raised in a chocolate factory.
Duh.
This will be the intro.